What's up, guys? Oh, it's very hot outside. Thank God we have this amazing agua refrescante.
Pero así vamos a empezar ya.
Montarris, yeah. You always start with the water sponsor.
Oh, I haven't said otherwise, but
That's very good.
Puerto Rico, very good.
Well, I already drank. And,
You only get one?
I already been drinking. This is like my third bottle already before we even started.
No, I know. We always give a shout out to our sponsor. That we love him. How are you?
Good, man. I'm doing great.
What do you think about Damian Pardo? What do you think about this guest I brought in, huh?
Our City Miami Commissioner, brother.
Commissioner Pardo, a friend of mine.
Welcome, Commish. Welcome to the
Thank you.
Day
It's a
Miami
pleasure, man. It's a
Studios.
pleasure.
Yes.
Last time we were together, we were at the Coconut Grove Art Festival.
Yep.
Que quedó
And we've done some
espectacular.
stuff. We had
And Goombay is coming soon
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
Grove.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's always been a huge thing in the
Absolutely.
Grove.
Doing
The Goombay Festival.
Yep.
We've been busy with events too. We just had a pickleball thing that
Yeah.
Ed and you put together, which is amazing. I don't play pickleball, pero estaba bueno, tú sabes, las picas and stuff like that.
I don't play pickleball either. So there you
I am.
go.
I'm gonna play.
No.
I'm gonna try. I'm athletic.
great.
Why you guys?
You know
think so
what?
hard?
If you play, I'll play.
Why don't we play as a team?
If I'll play. You and me will play. Pero number one, I have to take 2 anti-inflammatories
No,
before
yo
I
también.
play.
2 anti-inflammatories.
But because by
No, and I'm gonna need, Ed told me Ed told me that he gave me a golf cart to.
No, and I have to have my doctor. Shout out to my great doctor, pain manager, Dr. Hasoon. He has to be there. Inyectame nada más.
El commissioner está lindo también, está fuerte también. You work out a little bit también. You stay shape.
I do work out.
All right. We always like to start with fun times. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah,
It's
no
a real
worries.
pleasure to be here.
No, pleasure to have you.
No,
We've
fun.
known each other a couple years from festivals, but now you're a commissioner, so now it's Commissioner Pardo, right? Instead of Damian.
Damian works.
But can
It's
I
good.
tell you something?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best way.
Of course. That's my angle, you know?
That sometimes people, again, I always bring up my political path and history. But I feel that it's so important, I think, to start like that of a person within the community that knows the community and knows the ins and outs and the flaws that you hear about with your friends and everybody, and say, you know what? I want to make a change. And I always say this, it takes a lot.
It does. And people know you. Like,
Correct.
they've already worked with you in organizations. There's a
Correct.
level of trust.
Yeah.
They know what they're going to get, at least a good part of it. So I think that's important. I agree.
They call you the breath of fresh air.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, the commission.
All right.
Even some of
We'll
the biggest,
take it.
Even some of the biggest city of Miami haters like you. What's going on?
Wow, I don't know.
What's this effect you
I
have?
haven't heard enough of that
I
feedback.
have. I know the streets and I talk honest.
That's true.
Out of all of them, you're the least hated. Is that maybe better to say?
It's called the city of Miami.
Whatever, you know.
It's
I
that
have,
circle of
Well, we're
life.
trying to change that.
I have many
That's-
friends there, but that's the word of the street. So how did you come to that?
How did I come to City of Miami?
City of Miami?
Really,
and
really, my
some,
discontent. My discontent.
There you go.
With the city, frustrated.
Because you've been 35 years a resident as well.
Correct. And an activist and an advocate.
Yeah.
And I've worked on a lot of
Many
different
things.
issues. And I just felt like, I'm always trying to get good things done with a ton of people that are all volunteers, and we never seem to get ahead. And we can't get things done in our park. We can't get things done in our neighborhood. And we can't get things, you just see enough things that I think it makes you want to go for it because, you run out of excuses. You can sit there on the sidelines and say, oh, and complain and hem and haw.
Right.
Or you can say, you know what, I just need to shut up and go for it if I really want change.
So on that point, have you been able to make change?
Yes,
So have you been able to say, okay,
Yes.
I
Yes.
took this strive because, becoming a politician, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
I'm very happy. People often ask me,
Okay.
are you enjoying your job? I'm like,
Right.
absolutely. I'm
Because you
enjoying
started
my job.
2023, right?
Yes.
So it's
yeah.
you're-
With Commissioner Gabella, we both.
You're on year 2.
I'm in year and a half.
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
Okay, so you're
And,
almost that where we got to
Think
start.
about it. We made changes in the city attorney's office. We introduced with Commissioner Reyes, who was the sponsor, the
God rest his soul,
God
Manolo.
rest his
Yep,
soul, a
yep.
great commissioner
Great
person.
Great human being. Great human
100%.
being.
We introduced the Inspector General, which is
Okay.
coming online toward the end of this year. Independent Inspector General, which is really important if you're trying to make changes in a city.
Okay.
We've made a lot of changes. We've added 1,000 affordable housing units through OmniCRA. We've added about 130 in Coconut Grove. Real affordable ownership and affordable rental in the community. The Grove bid has been restructured. There's a new energy in the business district.
We
of
saw
Coconut
it.
Grove.
We saw it. We saw
Front
it.
lines on that.
We have to say that. Yeah, kudos to that because we really saw that during the Coconut
Well,
Grove
that's
Art
Mark
Festival.
Burns. He's the new executive
Yep,
director
yep.
that was
He
hired.
was our guest on the pod.
He's amazing.
Great dude.
But we made all those changes.
Yeah.
Like our office, our administration, really has focused on all of that. We have liaisons for each part of the district. So in Edgewater, we're working on a lot of plans specific to Edgewater, like the Bay Walk and a whole character and identity for the neighborhood plan that we're working on, as well as trying to capture some revenue, some tools to bring more infrastructure to the area. Downtown, we're also working on Brickell. I mean, we have very talented, hardworking people that aren't there for a paycheck. They're there because they love their city, they love the neighborhoods, and they're working for residents. Yeah.
So that's important, brother, because at the end of the day, that's exactly how we started. No, you started the conversation with, you were an activist, you were doing this, you were doing that. Those, for me, are people that you really say, those are the people who should, run for office, because those are people that know what's going on.
They know, and they've accomplished things.
Right. Yeah.
With very hard, with uphill battle.
Okay. Right.
I would describe it that way.
Let's talk about your uphill battles.
We have a couple of them on the horizon.
Yeah.
Right.
We always see the city, right? The shot of City Hall and the arguing back and forth and.
Well, let's
panel.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, it's no por nada, but it's every time they say there's something going on, there's a brawl, there's a fight, there's an argument. We're City of Miami, City of Miami, City of Miami. I mean, I always say, why is it always the damn City of Miami on the spotlight? It always has some there's always like controversy, turmoil. I don't understand. Why can't everybody just get on?
Well, how do you work daily in that environment?
Well, you don't play into it. You don't join the mud fight. You try to just work on your job, work on action. Like in our office, we work a lot on getting things done. We say that all the time. We have another saying, little by little, let's just get things done. And I think if you stay in that lane, you're going to be just fine. You're not going to be as distracted to jump in the mud ring or all these other things. But the reforms that we're talking about actually changes that. It changes that dynamic because a lot of what you see in the city of Miami is that old school politics of blow everything up. I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to make that person look bad. I'm going to
horrible things.
I'm going to hurt them in their mayoral campaign by using these groups in the community and these individuals who are my allies. And then we're going to, and all of that, all you're doing there is not working for your residents.
So let's dive into this because this is a hot topic that's going on right now. And I'm going to be honest with you 100%. I've heard a lot of pros and cons against this and a lot of people have, spoken. I'd like our audience people to understand what is it that's going on with the city and this whole thing, this reform that they're talking about.
Listen, it's a little bit complicated.
Explain it in good terms that people can understand it.
I'm going to explain
it down for us.
Yes. I'm going to break it down. And the reason I'm really grateful that you're giving me this time is because it is complicated. So it's going to take a minute.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Right. So I want
you got the floor.
So when people hear it, I also want them to understand that. Like you need to peel back a few layers to really understand the whole reform in its entirety. We started with lifetime term limits. That's already on the agenda. It's coming back in June after the District 4 Commissioner gets elected. Now, what is lifetime term limits?
Correct.
Right now in City of Miami, there are term limits. You're limited to 8 years, but then you have to go away for 4 and you can come back. So potentially you can serve as much as you want as long as you take a 4-year break. And you can do it as mayor, you can do it as commissioner. And so what we've seen and what I heard a lot on the campaign were people saying, but why are these people still here? They've been here for like 40 years. Why do I still hear this name and this person? And they couldn't understand. And what happens is you're not allowing fresh ideas. You have people that already have relationships with lobbyists. You already know where they stand on issues. They're not going to change where they stand on issues. And so those issues rule the day and new issues never make it. And that's why, you think of the city of Miami, this global city, dynamic, vibrant, and it's not captured in its political reality. And part of that is because you have that ability to keep coming back. So lifetime ban limits a commissioner to 8 years. So in my case, I've got 8 years. That's it. I like that because it also tells the person, hey, you got 8 years. Whatever you're going to do.
Get it done.
Right? Like Miami Marine Stadium is a big thing. It's in my mind. I think about it a lot and I'm like, man, I hope I'm here.
Nothing ever changes with that.
But it's in process. There's an RFP. We talked a little bit about on the show, but that's a good example.
But let me just put a parenthesis there because I want you to continue on that. It's important. But you said, so you could do your commission for 8 years.
Right.
Does this does this prevent you, like, if you ever decide want to go for, like, let's say, mayor of city of Miami?
No, I can be mayor for 8 years.
So you could be, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's something I wanted to clear up.
Yeah, so 16 years is the maximum number of years I can serve the city of Miami.
Okay,
Then
but not in one position.
Right, not in one position.
Got it. Okay.
Not in one position.
So is that currently, and I'm sorry to stop, but this is how we're going to clear this up.
Important.
Is this, now you say this currently, does this model exist in the county and other cities, or
It does exist in many other cities.
Right.
The county just moved to term limits, but they have the same ones that the city does, as far as I know.
So then the county could do the same thing.
Yeah.
That you can be out and come back again.
Come back. That is
Gotcha.
my understanding.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So then again, for everybody to understand, because listen, I'm learning as the commissioner. I'm being, it's giving us the thing. My Spanglish starts coming into it. So then basically, you can run 4 years. Get reelected. If somebody wants to run against you, they run against you. If they win,
it's really hard not to get reelected because you already have the name recognition.
100%.
Money, right? So some people say, "Well, let the voters decide. I'll take a 4-year break and come back." That's not an even playing field. You're coming back,
and I was going to ask you that. I was going to tell you that because should it be you guys' decision? Or should it be the voters' decision?
It should be the voters. Listen, at the end of the day, I think almost everything should be the voters' decision.
I agree.
This is going to go to the voters. Hopefully, let me tell you the track it's on right now. Hopefully it will be heard on that first meeting in June.
Okay.
It's a directive to ask the city attorney to draft the ballot language for voters to vote on in November 2025.
Okay.
So voters, hopefully the ballot language comes back. The votes are there on the commission, and I believe they are. 3 votes to pass this language to get to the voters. The mayor does have the opportunity to veto that legislation. If he does not veto that legislation, it will go to voters in 2025. So it will be on the ballot in 2025.
Okay, so then if the attorneys go ahead and then, they do this new verbiage, and the verbiage is to then tell the city residents, do you approve of, just the commissioners and the mayors to just serve consecutive, let's say the 8 years.
Right.
And then after that, they cannot come back.
Right. And it's based off of a 2014 piece of legislation that City of Miami Beach adopted.
Gotcha.
So City of Miami Beach already has that, and it passed overwhelmingly by 70%.
By the voters.
So and we kind of think it would in City of Miami too.
Okay.
It has a lot of support.
So then if that happens, give us a little bit of explanation then of what they're talking about this with the even or the odd.
Right.
So what is that? What
happens? That's where it gets a little complicated.
Correct.
Let me explain the complication. There is a candidate that when this issue came onto the draft agenda, immediately Frank Carollo declared in District 3. So everybody technically files their forms for candidacy in September in the city of Miami. But, you can play around with it, declare, not declare. Well, the moment this made it to the agenda, Frank Carollo declared. Why is that important? Frank Carollo has already served 8 years in the city of Miami as the District 2 commissioner.
Okay.
His brother, Joe Carollo, is the current commissioner for District 3, and he has served 8 years. So District 3 has had 16 years of Carollo. If Frank Carollo comes back to District 3, potentially you're going to have 24 years of Carollo in Little Havana. Okay. So without this was never, none of this was ever preconceived for the situation. But once the situation arose, it presented a big complication because potentially you could have Frank Carollo elected by District 3 on the same ballot as the lifetime ban, the lifetime term.
Wow.
No.
There's definitely going to be a change.
This is really complicated.
It is complicated because now when you have that situation, you can have lawsuits. You know it could be challenged. And you don't know what a court is.
It's like landmines.
Right, it's like landmines. Now, the fact that and this is also important, the legislation is retroactive. So it means anybody that has served in the past, and there are a lot of names that come up, Sarnoff, Russell, Hardeman, all these names cannot come back. It basically tells them, it takes a retroactive look. That aspect, the retroactivity was challenged in the city of Miami Beach, and it was upheld in the District Court of Appeals. So it's clean from that perspective. But this issue of having somebody win a seat that's invalidated at the same time on the same ballot has never been tested.
Well, you want to talk about a headline?
No, crazy. Because listen, you would always.
Is more of what's going on over there.
Yeah. Right, but you would think. But I'm going to give you both. I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
How would you handle it? You're a
old
school politician.
Because what I'm saying is that then to the commissioner's point when we began this, it's like when you said, okay, so-and-so is running again. I always say, well, that's the opportunity that people have to go and vote. Go vote. You don't like that person anymore, vote for the other person, right.
But it's not really that way because it's not fair.
Right.
You already have somebody that has name. Let's use Frank Arroyo as a great example. He already starts immediate advantage. Whether positive or negative, the name is known. And people will go to that ballot and just choose the name that is familiar to them.
But again, then the other
facts.
side of the coin. Right. But
you have money.
Right.
And you have the relationships that you keep. Right. So it's not like saying, let the voters decide. No, it's not. You're really, it's not fair because you have a front.
But I can see how everybody's going to argue this, by the way.
Of course, I can see
because this is going to be argued too.
I can see it too.
Because the other person is going to say, but that's not your problem. Right. Let the voter go ahead and say, if they don't want me, okay, let's say who's running, Mr. Carollo. Let's say now Kiko's running in that district. Yeah. Okay, I want to vote for Kiko. So do it that way. You know what I'm saying? But then I understand what you guys are saying. And again, it comes down to the voter anyway.
But that's exactly where I was going.
On both sides.
At the end of the day, you have your opinion, I have mine. We don't have to agree, but let the voters decide.
Correct.
Stop it from getting to the voters.
Correct.
Commissioner, you're praying for a smart voter.
Yeah. Well,
not just somebody that jots down because
I'm praying for a voter that wants change.
A lot of people, like you said, will just say, I don't even know the guy, but that looks good, and
right. They don't know. They've heard the name and they're kind of like, okay, I'll just, pick that name. Now, this is the importance of moving it to 2026.
Okay.
Because first I want to talk about why
that's the even and the odd thing.
Yeah, this is the even and the odd thing. First I want to talk about why is that important. When I was campaigning, lots of people said, how do we elect people that are so far off base from us, like from our values and how do we elect people like that? Well, if you look at the voter participation on the odd years, you have a participation that ranges between 10 and 14%. That's it. 10 and 14%. They're choosing. Just a few thousand people.
Why is that, Commissioner? Why?
Deciding?
Because it's an off year. It's not that everybody knows on the presidential year, right, that you have an election. So you're like, oh, yeah.
Which, I'm for. I think everybody should be during the November.
Well, 27 out of 34 municipalities are in 2026, they're in the general. Only City of Miami and a few others are not. So
doesn't that cost even more money?
Yeah, it's an additional $1 million.
That's what
so
I'm
we
saying.
save $1 million by moving it to 2026.
We just had that with the City of Coral Gables.
Yeah.
That City of Coral Gables has this election in April. They're saying April. Yeah. And then it's unfair for a lot of people.
But they took away months from the term, and now that's getting challenged too.
Correct.
So that's what we want to avoid by not, according to our conversations with our city attorney, he has said, look, if you take anything away, you're opening up the city to litigation. If you're adding, who can really complain? Mm-hmm. I mean, the people who are running now for mayor, they get an extra year. The people on the commission get an extra year. A year in political life. We just talked about you need 8 years to get anything done. What is a year?
By 6 months you have to start raising money.
A year and a half, so you're
right.
You're almost coming in
an
year 2.
additional year is not, and that's why when I see headlines that reflect that, I'm like, no, they're missing the whole point. You're changing participation from 10 to 14 to 65 to 69%. That's huge. You're changing all these people that are going to come out to vote, and they're going to be heard, as opposed to doing it on odd years when you're only getting a very small sample. And by the way, that's what also makes it possible for commissioners to put turkeys in bags and give them away and win, because it's a captive audience. If you get to a little audience and you're giving them stuff, and they're like, "Oh, what a nice guy! He brought me a cake, or he gave me a turkey.
I'm voting for this guy.
I'm voting for this guy, and that's really
that's all it costs you, just a turkey.
We can do better than that, right?
Yeah.
In the city of Miami, we can do better than that.
God bless politics, brother. I mean.
But a lot of people have said, hey, why are you doing it now? Why don't you let this go to the voters? Because this could be done by commission. So these two things are on separate track. The lifetime term limit has to go to voters because it's a charter amendment.
Okay. Yes.
The changing the election date does not. It can be done by commission.
Okay.
So some folks have said, well, why don't you, it should go to the voters. And I'm like, well, ideally, yes, I totally agree. But number one, I know voters support this, right? So I don't need a vote or a poll to really know that voters want to change the election to the general election. But number two, it secures lifetime term limits because now there's no Frank Arroyo issue. Frank Arroyo needs to run in 26, but the ballot initiative happens in 25. So it's clean reform. There's no legal challenge in 2025. Frank Carollo can run. If that doesn't pass, if it passes, he's out. He can no longer run. And Joe Carollo has probably either not run or has a very strong legal challenge that he'll have to endure to be mayor. So this kind of puts a lid on those people that are doing the coming back.
Right.
The coming back.
Right. And you obviously you're using Carollo, Frank, as the example.
Yes.
Because he's the one that already filed.
And I want to make the point, because this came up early on. When we started this, it was all about modeling the legislation we liked in Miami Beach. We hadn't contemplated Frank Carollo, Joe Carollo, none of any. This was not about a person. It wasn't about attacking anybody. This was about good governance,
right,
and bringing reform that really makes a difference for our city. Now, this stuff came up later, and like, oh, wow, okay, we didn't realize it. The other thing is, with that complication, we're also leaving it open for, potentially a mayor to say, you know what, this is messy. This is going to open lawsuits to the city. I'm going to veto this because it's a problem.
Right.
And that's been also my fear, that the cleaner we make this, the better it's going to be to not have any kind of veto or problem or legal challenge, and we can get all the reform done, but they need to happen.
Get things done.
Listen, I again, I'm glad, it's complicated.
It is.
Está complicado.
I'm relying on you guys.
You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I need a shot of tequila after this because I'm baffled.
I don't think there's a
No. But at the same time, it's
water.
It's good.
The water's great.
It's good that you really can explain this, because again, I know a lot of our viewers and everybody. And listen, the purpose that we've always wanted to do our podcast and the Day in Miami is for this. Yeah. It's for good explaining. I always say this to people. It doesn't matter if you like this commissioner, you don't like this commissioner. We bring everybody here so they can give their explanation, because right now, half of the people don't read newspapers anymore.
No. This is it.
If you go ahead now and you get, let's say, whatever, a newscast, NBC, CBS, ABC, whoever, they'll come and just interview for a second. That soundbite will just be taken from, you know how that is. A second, you're like, okay, te quedaste en el aire still because you don't understand. They don't do like a forum and say, okay, let's really sit this down and explain what's going on. This is why A Day in Miami, we do what we do. Yeah. Because we like to bring clarity to all those folks out there.
Breath of fresh air.
Really understand what the hell's going on.
But you're also going to have a lot of people who don't want to see this happen, right?
But that's what I'm saying.
Everybody running for mayor, their numbers change. Mm-hmm. They go from a 15% or a 10 to 15 to a 65 to 70. Right, so all of their calculations, all of their lobbyists probably, working with those candidates probably wouldn't want to see this happen either. So there are a lot of people. Yeah, there are a lot of people who have a vested interest to make sure that this kind of.
Because at the end of the day, if you have a lower turnout, is the one that you really can say, okay, you control this. I mean, I know a little bit about politics, so it's they control this. Okay, ballots are being dropped, the early voting, you start calculating.
The other thing is, there's always people you don't like, right? So I've also heard, this is so-and-so, and he's trying to get another year, and this whole Machiavellian theory of like how this person is manipulating the system to get a year, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm the sponsor of this legislation. Right. This is if it comes in, and I need to first figure out if there's support for it to be able to.
Right. Talking about support and likeness. Apparently, you're the most liked commissioner on the board there.
I don't know.
I think Billy Corbin's a fan of yours.
Oh, I don't know about
that. I see him.
I certainly get plenty of comments.
No, but I think he rags on you the least.
Okay, could there be an exception?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you. I know Billy personally, and I guess you're the one that gets the less of it.
That's fair.
Is that kind of like the vibe over there? Like, you're like the likable guy?
No, man, I have to tell you.
Just because you're the new guy? Or?
No, to be honest, I think in our office, we're really focused on work, and whenever you're focused on work, you're going to run into resistance, people that don't want to see the project you're working on. So we get a lot of feedback that's like, negative. Like, we're against this and we're against that. We also get some really good positive feedback.
I've seen more positive than negative with you, which is surprising.
No, man, that's wonderful. Thank you for.
No, I acknowledge.
But listen,
go ahead, man.
It's like in any of these branches of government. No, you become a congressman now. You go to Washington. Yeah, you're the new kid on the block.
But it's important to say that you cannot go by that.
Right.
Like I've already done some stuff that I know there's been resistance, which a lot of this resistance is politically motivated. It's not based on facts.
Yeah.
It's people who are running for your seat already or attacking you.
There's a high percentage that everything is politically motivated.
Right. But if you're doing the right thing, I will continue and get it done. Like, I'm not going to, that's not going to, I don't, this isn't a popularity contest.
Right. Listen, at the end of the day, the voters are the one that voted for you.
Right. And
you're there, and they can vote you out.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you're doing good and you go show them this is what I've done, you approve of it, we're good. I'm a true believer that everything has to be left to the voters. You know, the voters. Now, if the voters voted for that, that's what you wanted.
And it's our responsibility to get the word out, which is
100%.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
You guys are helping us. That's why your program
100%.
is so valuable.
Talking about getting the word out, you've been in the community many years. Yes. You're still doing your festivals and stuff like that?
I'm not. No, I can't.
Yeah, you're done?
As commissioner. And really, the festival was part of a strategy. It was a tool of many trying to lower the polarization. Because back in 2014, I started Forward Miami with Joe Cardona. And our whole purpose was, how do we get the people on the far right and the far left together for a day to have a little fun, drink a little bit, dance a little bit, and remember our roots with each other.
Right.
Like, this is ridiculous. You know, in the city of Miami, I don't care. I want the best engineer. I don't care who you voted for. And I know people get mad at me when I say these things, but it's the truth. Right. And I think if we're playing into that, like, oh, I'm only going to associate with this bubble or this bubble, we're not doing the work we need to do for our city.
100%.
I know you're on the board of Vizcaya
and
Museum Gardens. Did you come up with the marketplace? Who brought the marketplace back?
No, I didn't come up with the marketplace. They've been doing it.
But now is when I see maybe like in the last year or 2 years where people are actually going. Is that safer to say?
That is staff. They have a really good staff.
The reason I bring it up is
they needed to do a little bit more of social media.
But they actually do good pieces on social. Have you seen?
They do. And the reason I bring it up is because my brother's building a home directly across the street, right by the sign on the backside. And he's building tremendo mansion ahí. But the marketplace, I just see it. I'm a food
It's
guy,
great.
so I see
and
it.
they do yoga. They have a whole lot of programming.
Yeah, because if it was there for a long time, we didn't know about it. But now I see it a lot better, getting full and stuff like that. So you had nothing to do with that, even though you're...
No, I respect, admire, and
You're still on the board?
Yes, I'm still on the board, and I support staff 100%. They have some of the best folks working, arborists and people figuring out how to make it sustainable from a climate perspective. Yeah. I think they're leaders in all that kind of work. It's funny because we got a call into our office saying, "Oh, we're here that they're going to cut down a tree of Vizcaya." Like, you know, so
talking about trees. You have Tree Tuesday or something like that.
We do.
What's that about?
That's letting people know the intended decisions on trees, so they
manicuring.
So they can appeal. So, for example, if the city is going to take down a tree, they post it publicly.
But what if what if it's your yard and you want to take it down?
Well, that's a homesteaded property.
Right.
That's a different thing. But you still could have somebody file. So
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Right where my brother is living, which is literally, like I said, across the market, behind the sign, that wall, there's like a little dead spot where the ramp goes up for the Metro Rail. There is a little bit of a homeless issue there sometimes.
I know. We've worked on that a lot.
And a lot of trees, something smells like urine. Yeah. Now my brother lives right there. Can you, as my boy on camera, say you're going to clean that up for us?
Oh, no, absolutely. Listen, the City of Miami Police has a heat team specifically with homeless.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Exactly that little round.
I've been there.
Yeah.
So I see
That's
the
my
bags.
brother's house.
I see the bags on the trees and everything. I've been there. I know exactly the spot you're talking about.
Saying that because my kids are going to be there hanging out.
No, I understand perfectly.
Oye, si no, el hermano que vaya para afuera con la manguera y el mistolín y limpia ahí.
You know where it is? Right across from Stallone's old house.
No, exactly.
Right there, bro. And I took my kids up the ramp, and it's nice because you can go over US 1 and see, the city life kind of.
That whole area. Well, that Adrian's house is there.
Right there, bro. If you could just darle un limpiazo ahí, that'd be awesome.
The problema is que it comes back, right? Like we've gone there and we'll continue to go there. We'll go there now that you just said it.
Out, man.
You know, we're really hopeful also that the Steve Leifman Center opens up because that's a major center it's doing things differently and it's really working with mental health. And that's the only one that's specialized.
Mental health.
It's going to be my neighborhood
that's
now.
Why.
Because a lot of the homeless have mental health issues.
Exactly. So we're really hoping to help the situation with homelessness by finally having a real institution.
No, to go to the core of the problem.
Yeah.
Because some of them, they always...
Brothers, is Chris. He's going to take care of it.
Chris, call us.
There you go.
You don't have to. We already got it.
We have great organizations here for the homeless. And then sometimes they come out and they go back out. So sometimes you have to get to the core of the problem. And I'm glad you said that. That's important.
You did retire from Gay 8 Festival, so you're done.
Yeah, with Forward Miami, I had to leave the board.
That's fine. That's fine. It was a good party. Rest in peace. Tell me about Family Fest. I think June 14th or something you guys are doing.
They're doing a Family Fest also. We're doing a ton
It was
of
big last year, right?
Yeah,
it was huge last year. Right? And
El mismo, yeah, exactly. También we have Goombay coming up in the
tell people about that because I know it's a Family Fest, but it looks like something with
Goombay was always a staple in this.
Yeah,
it was. It had a little dip.
Yes.
It had a little dip. You can go on our social media channel. You're going to find all the information on Family Fest. Goombay's coming up in early June, I think.
I like it.
Family Fest in Tail because I've seen the pictures and that shit gets packed.
Yeah, it does.
What is it about?
Exactly what you saw online. Families coming together, having fun.
Buy food, drinks, stuff.
Enjoy the day.
Alcohol.
But really supportive of family because a lot of times we have a lot of events that aren't really...
family oriented.
Yeah, they're not really family oriented. So it's kind of a real focus on the family and trying to have fun and
they can walk around, have a good time.
Around,
everybody wins.
I have a go ahead.
Commissioner, let me ask you a question. Yeah. What other boards are you chairing? Do you do the
Omni CRA?
The CRA.
And CRA, and then I support the other commissioners that are within District 2. So, for example, Commissioner Gabella is doing a great job running Bayfront Park Management Trust.
Yeah.
So anything we can do to open up our forums, which we're already do forums with our residents, and we have Commissioner Gabella participate, that's great. The new District 4 commissioner, if they get named to be the DDA, which used to be Commissioner Reyes, we supported Commissioner Reyes.
Right.
If there were public things, we would try to do them jointly so that it's efficient. And we're not, we're doing the right thing.
Can we explain to people, because I know what it is, but a lot of people don't understand what the CRA is all about. Could you just give a little brief of what the CRA does?
Absolutely.
The importance of the city of Miami.
It's super important. It's a community redevelopment agency. And what it does is it focuses on affordable housing and infrastructure. That's its primary focus. What does that mean? We know, for example, Omni CRA captures a piece of Overtown, a piece of Wynwood, the Omni District that's near, the Omni. You could think about the flooding on 15th that happened.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of flooding issues in the area still. There's a lot of blight, empty lots. What confuses people about CRAs, Omni started in 1987. So it's been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at part of the district, you see these amazing buildings and you think, why do these people need a CRA when they have these amazing? Well, because the other half of the district isn't there yet.
Correct.
And what they do is they take the increase in taxes in its district. So let's say you pay $100 in taxes. Next year, you're going to pay $110. That increase, that incremental $10 goes to Omni CRA. And they capture that money. It's called TIF, tax incremental financing. They capture that money and they use it and apply it to bring growth in affordability
to that area.
To the area. Exactly, which is super important because if you're anything in Miami, how do you afford? I think the area median income is somewhere around $70,000 for a household. How can you afford anything to stay in Miami? And how are you a police person or fire or any of these other positions?
Base salaries are
state
60,
attorney,
70,000.
public defender. Where do you go? That's
no.
near?
We
you have to live north of Pembroke Pines.
We did a great interview with Kathy Fernandez, and I stayed in shock with the fact of what these public, these state prosecutors, what they make.
Yeah.
And the fact of just what they have to pay in loans from, grad. And she was, we're talking about affordable housing for them in the areas.
We're very much focused on that. We're focused on building out iPrep school, trying to double the enrollment of that. We're working with the school board on creating a transaction where we could really revitalize Biscayne Park, the park section, but also take care of the administrative building for the school board and the school, because there's no school in the urban core.
Correct.
We don't have enough.
Who gets the credit for bringing back the growth? Because it's back.
I think everybody does. I mean, I know that sounds like a lame answer, but you've got merchants who've been there a long time who are finally seeing, their day. You have a great bid, a functioning bid with a good board, a great Mark Burns. If I had to give the credit to one person, it would be Mark Burns.
Really?
Yeah.
Mark's cool.
He's
and we're the same height.
But not the same weight. But anyway.
He works really hard, but it's also board members that have been there for
100%.
If there's something I can say about your district and stuff like that, is that whoever did that and put that together, that is something that we notice, something that we enjoy already.
Yeah.
And we're both old school. Man, he's not that old, like he says. And we're kind of from the same thing when the Grove was awesome. And I feel maybe it's not like it was crazy, but it's on its way back.
Oh, I think so.
Well, I mean,
it has the vibe.
It has the vibe. And by the way,
with like
I always
1,000 people.
I always say this: it's the Grove, what it could be the Grove, what was the Grove, but even with much better restaurants.
Right, no, for sure.
You know where we are today. My time, the Grove was,
safe. It's very safe.
Yeah.
It is safe.
The
I've never been attacked in the Grove. I wonder why.
Well,
Listen, I was never attacked in the Grove in my time either because I didn't get out of the car because you would just cruise the Grove.
You valet all the time.
Just
right?
so you know,
No, but you would cruise the Grove.
Just so you know, though, the bid actually invests in making sure that the area is clean. They have a contract with the provider.
I'm telling you, man.
They bring more safety. They bring more police to the area.
It's been a successful thing. It's been a successful thing, and I congratulate you and all your team.
And they're doing a deal with Circuit, which is the point transportation, on point transportation.
I love it.
Someone living in the South Grove will be able to call, get almost like an Uber, and they get to the business district.
Like the freebies that we have around
Very
the
similar.
area and the whole
I
thing.
found parking that day at the Arts Festival, so I was excited.
That's always good.
Okay, I got the hard question. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Well, I mean, you're gonna really put it.
They're gonna need to drink.
You're really gonna put him in that position?
Yeah, we need some clickbait. And Ed would be mad if I didn't ask this question.
We always.
Your top 3 restaurants.
Oh no.
Favorite restaurants
The worst.
in your district and in Miami.
The worst.
Look at me. I tell this. They always like to put people with that one, but I tell your go-tos. You can go your go-tos.
Listen to me. It's my department.
So I'm gonna have to pick all the Grove, right?
Go to your go-tos.
I need Commissioner Damian Pardo's top 3 restaurants
don't
in
do this to
Miami.
me.
Starting with number 3, save it for number 1. Number
Look,
3.
when you talk about old school, I'm old.
There you go. Go.
Capital
All right.
Grill is
There you go.
It's in
Great
my
answer, brother. Great.
Capital Grill is number 3?
It's
Or you got to start from the bottom.
Oh, I gotta stop. Oh, okay, never mind.
Number 3.
Strike that one.
that one.
Number 3 for
one.
Commissioner.
Wow.
Imagínate. Es que City of Miami has so many restaurants.
Look, I'll since I'm on that old school theme, I'll do a braci.
Aurachi, whoa. That's
Go.
Maniland.
I still,
That's Maniland.
Well, but it's a
Aurachi,
staple.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
staple.
Number 2 for Commissioner Prado. Let him
I
answer.
can't help you.
Let him answer.
No, I can't. No, but I'm gonna give him later.
No, you're
Great
giving,
one. I'm just trying to remember the name of it. In the Grove.
you're giving him the old school Miami hints.
For the lack of the name, I'm gonna have to go with.
Bro, this is a lot of people watching this, Commissioner.
I'll do Jaguar in the Grove.
Okay.
Oh, legendary star.
Yeah.
20 years. It's been
Very good.
20 years.
Very good.
I like that. And then your number 1 for
But
Dave?
ya lo dijiste.
Ya lo dije.
Capital Grill?
Capital Grill.
Capital Grill. Tell me why.
Consistent. The service is always consistent. You know what you're gonna get. The steak is amazing.
Amazing. Are you sure amazing?
Yes.
Like,
I
like
say
if you
amazing.
like if you could give me a number using decimals, what would the steak be on your
9.6.
Get out of here.
Brother, it's a steakhouse, brother. The Capital Grill is Capital
love
Grill. I mean, you can have your other places. That's fine.
9.6, Commissioner. I thought you were sharp, witty, intelligent.
Yeah.
9.6.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know you know why he's witty and intelligent? Because he's gonna clean that sidewalk. If not, that sidewalk's gonna stay like that, and you're gonna have to go with the broom and Mictolin.
And you know what? Any wine you order is always gonna be great.
Okay.
Their house wine is always gonna be smooth.
So consistency.
it's private.
Their lobster bisque is spectacular.
Lobster bisque. The calamari is still good.
Everything.
You know.
I have to agree with you.
Fair, that's your list. But if you had, what about favorite new restaurant? One more question. Something that you
Just don't
you
go that
tried
much
new
to restaurants.
Come on, you go out. No, hold on.
No, believe it or not, I don't.
Mira,
Anything you
Commish,
like?
te voy a
I'd rather not be
ayudar.
involved with a
Commish,
bill.
te voy a ayudar con una ahí.
Okay, that.
Little old school. Just rápido. Vamos a comer un sandwichito. Enriqueta.
Yeah, Enriqueta's great. Or La Casita.
Or La Casita.
You mentioned that
Enriqueta.
when I worked at Channel 7 for 3
Wait
years.
a minute, what's wrong?
Every
There
Friday.
you go.
Sandwich.
También. Ahí está.
Addict. I am an addict.
Okay, there
Their
you
bread
go.
to
There
la
you go.
tostada cubana from Sandwich. And then
you go.
I go there every
Toasters
morning.
like glass.
I have to have my.
We're getting the it's all coming back to me now vibe.
Danny and Rosie would love you for saying that.
No, but it's true.
But it's
It
the
is.
truth.
Ask them.
And
They're-
Enriqueta, you said
in fact, they
Enriqueta.
were going to name the toast after me.
Listen, remember, I tell you Enriqueta because in my years of being a commissioner, I'm talking about 89, 91, 92, that would be our little place that we would leave during lunch after commission. Todo el mundo se iba para Enriqueta.
Enriqueta. I worked at Channel 7 for 3
It was
years. And my
spectacular.
Friday morning, the bistec caballo breakfast.
Oh, awesome. But again,
That sounds
shout out to all those people.
Shout out.
And by the way, not to make it difficult for you, but okay, you have a ton of great restaurants.
No, totally.
And listen,
but he was honest. He was honest.
Yeah, but this is what I always say in this program. There's no place in Miami you can go wrong. Yeah. There's no place.
You're right. We're really blessed, especially
we're blessed, brother.
Area, whether it's downtown,
downtown,
Brickell,
North Brickell, City, Coral Gables, South Miami, the Kendall area, Homestead, anywhere you go, Western, anywhere you go, you have great restaurants in every area.
Absolutely, I like your list. I was impressed.
Yeah,
Commissioner, look into that camera right now and let people know what they should do and what you think about the next coming election and all that stuff we talked about.
Stay informed, stay involved. Please pay attention to these reforms because they will change the landscape of the city of Miami.
And
this
by
will
the
not
way,
be the same city if these reforms pass.
Give a phone number where they can call for more information in your office or something. They can call
305-250-5333.
Okay.
That's the main number for our office.
So this is what we do, guys. We bring you the information here in a day in Miami. This is what we like to do so everybody of our people can stay informed.
You're definitely,
very much.
You're definitely my favorite commissioner.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you
for
hermano. Bar Festival. Spectacular,
thank you
brother.
for everything you do and continue to be the breath of fresh air.
Oh, man, please.
And we're out for the next one.
Yes, buddy. Commissioner Pardo.